Hello, everyone. Sarah here from Blue Lotus Films, and I'm here with Leah Cooper. Thank you for joining me today, Leah, all the way from South Australia.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Sarah. Great to be here.
Thank you so much. So I'm really looking forward to talking to you, Leah. I just want to let everybody know a little bit about this series. So this is my Wellness Wednesday series, and I've been doing this with wellness experts that I've met in my network, that I've come across on YouTube, and I'm interviewing them about their services that they provide in their business, getting to know their story, and being able to offer a lot of great wellness tips to you so you can improve your life and bring more fulfillment through different wellness modalities. So this is what we'll be doing today. And then we go into the interview for just about 20-25 minutes. And then at the end, I provide live YouTube coaching for all of my guests. And that's what I'll be doing today with Leah. So this is really going to be a great conversation. And I hope that all of you can stick around and definitely put some questions in the chat. We love taking live questions. We will look at the chat as we go along and take any questions from our guests. So let me go ahead and introduce Leah. So got her bio here. So Leah is a yoga teacher, a macrobiotic and whole foods cook, and a health and well-being podcaster. She began practicing yoga in 1996 when she was 20 years old and completed her yoga teacher training in Ryoho Yoga Therapy in 2007. And Leah is passionate about helping people improve wellness and get more out of life, and believes in 3 principles that underpin that journey: body, movement, diet, and self-love. And she runs a company called Center of Key in South Australia. So thank you, Leah. Thanks for being here. Excited to get into the conversation.
Yes.
So first of all, I would love if you can share, and I know you have your puppy there with you, and we welcome the puppy to join in the conversation. We know he's excited too. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I love about the live streams. It's like anything can happen. So
exactly. Yes.
So, I would love if you could just share like 2-3 minutes about your journey getting into yoga practice, and then how you have learned about macrobiotic cooking. Just tell us a little bit about the services, the journey of getting your business formed and offering these services to your clients.
Yeah. So, well, like you said in the intro, I started this yoga in 1996 when I was about 20 years old. And my teachers were also macrobiotic practitioners and cooks as well. So as they were teaching the yoga classes, they talked a lot about, that style of cooking, the types of foods that involved, yin and yang principles and 5 elements and the seasons. And it was very immersive in that way. It just covered all aspects of health and well-being. And after going on a few retreats, they were kind of like, the first retreat I went on was a bit of a shock. It was, I think, a 7-day retreat, and it was a half fasting retreat as well. So we had very little food, but it was all very, it was macrobiotic medicinal food. So it was like a healing diet. And I lost a fair bit of weight over those 7 days. It was quite remarkable, really. But I came away just feeling so much lighter and spacious about where I was and who I was. And that kind of got me on this journey. It was a bit of a roller coaster over the first few years, especially with the food and eating and the movement. And it was quite intense. But after a while, I found some balance. And I think that's a really important learning that I had along the way, is being able to, go to those extremes in a way, and then find gradually getting, more centered. And that's one of the key principle that I believe in is this centeredness. And one of my other teachers as well that I studied shiatsu with and macrobiotics with as well, he talks about being this centered, grounded state. And, there's always ups and downs, there's always extremes. But one thing I've learned over time is, the more we focus our diet into a healthy way of eating, in principle, in line with the seasons and in whole foods, and not so much, mass-produced foods and things like that. Our lives also become a little bit more centered. We're not going to these extremes. And so over time, I did my teacher training in 2007. I've studied macrobiotics and shiatsu as well. So just combining all those things together. When I moved to South Australia at the end of 2012, in 2013, my goal was to set up my own yoga business. And so that's what I did. I started teaching at a couple of local halls, and I was teaching 4 classes a week. And then I was also still working part-time and then working full-time. And just trying to balance that, always having that yoga as an outlet for myself. And then late 2019, I wanted to provide a service to my students, when I went away or had a break or was sick, that they could still do yoga. And so I started a YouTube channel, and that's what I've been building on for the last few years, is just adding weekly videos where I can, whether it's mainly yoga based, but also a few food things in there as well, and a few of my podcast episodes too. So just trying to continually add content to that, so that my students can access yoga anytime, and also potentially reach new people as well who might find the yoga that I do beneficial.
Excellent. Yes, and we're going to be getting into Leah's YouTube channel. I know you've been really consistent with your YouTube channel, Leah, and it seems like definitely a passion of yours to provide, all of this great wellness information to people. And you have so much information to share. So we're going to get into that at the end of the interview, just looking at Leah's channel and seeing what she's done. But I would love, at the moment, I know you talked about how yoga helped you get centered and help you feel grounded, as well as the macrobiotic diet. And I'm just curious, how overall has the yoga philosophy affected your own life? With any struggles you've had, or, I know it's probably hard to summarize, but, in terms of the practices you're bringing, I know yoga, in my experience, is not just about the asanas. It's actually a whole yoga philosophy. So I wonder, if you could summarize, how does yoga help you in your personal life throughout your journey with yoga?
Yeah, that's a really big question.
Yep, we're diving in.
Yeah, diving right in deep. No, this is great. I love it. So like you say, yoga is more than just the physical practice. And I guess, the evolution of my yoga practice has, there's been an evolution, like anything you do in life. You sort of evolve through stages, white belt to black belt and so on, but always having that beginner's mind as well. But I find, for me, yoga, because of the physical practice and the physical practice combined with the breath, I find extremely beneficial for me, just coming into my body, being more focused in my mind, and combining that with the other principles, meditation, but also dietary practices as well. I don't know, it's just a really good foundation for living a healthy life. I've really been lucky. I mean, I did have a health issue, maybe 10 or so years ago. I had a thyroid condition, but that was because I kind of strayed off the path a little bit. I was very busy. I was a new mom working full time, trying to look after the house, et cetera, et cetera. So when this health issue came up for me, it actually gave me an opportunity to refocus into my own well-being, which was something I'd been neglecting. So, I went back to doing more yoga. more therapeutic yoga specifically, changing my diet so that it was more supportive of of healing that condition that I had, so a healing diet, and making more time for myself, just to be out in nature, and then doing specific yoga for the condition that I was trying to treat. So that was a really, I guess, that was beneficial for me in that I was able to, heal myself, and not have to go on medication for the condition that I was, that I was diagnosed with. But ever since then, it's this continual evolution. A couple of years ago, I started meditating more regularly, which is, part and parcel with the yoga practice, but something that I'd kind of neglected or not really consistently applied. And, doing that now more consistently, maybe not every day, but, maybe 5 days out of 7 in the week, getting there and just sitting for 10 or 15 minutes meditating has really just enhanced my well-being to that next level where I'm actually, I'm not saying I'm 100%, and people that know me will know that I kind of do swing around a bit, emotionally unstable at certain times, but it's never for a long period of time. It's, I really tune in to what's going on. I understand how I'm feeling. I have this connection between my mind and my body. I can feel the different organs in my body, and when they're tense or when they're relaxed, or different things when there's things going on. And I think that's one of the main things I really loved about, I don't know if it's about all yoga, but the yoga that I specifically practice is really fostering that connection to your inner organs, which is something you don't necessarily think about on a day-to-day basis, but actually knowing where organs are and what they do, but also getting a sense of when you're actually doing the yoga practice, the effect that is having on a specific organ. And then just in your day when you feel something, you're like, oh, that might be my liver, or that might be my large intestine, or and being really in tune in that way. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't have, and something that people could really benefit from.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it definitely seems life-changing, everything you described, just being able to connect with your body and be attuned to your body and see how, being attuned to your body can actually affect how you feel with your emotions and changing your experience. And I appreciate what you shared, because of course we have talked, Leah and I have talked previously about our shared experience with hypothyroidism. And I think it's really great to hear, how you've healed yourself. And I'm still working on it. I still take medication for hypothyroidism, which I'm fine with doing. I don't think I want to do it forever. But it is amazing, it seems like the consistent practice. That's what I'm hearing from you. Staying very consistent. And of course, like you said, we all go through tough days. We all have, things that come up, but it just sounds like you really found the tools, to be able to kind of surf the waves that come in through life at different times.
Perfect. That exactly. Surfing the waves. I love that metaphor. Absolutely. Yeah.
Sweet. And then with the macrobiotic cooking, what are some of the benefits that you've experienced with that? I know you've talked about how that helped you feel a bit more grounded as well, but what are some, because I think a lot of people aren't even familiar with macrobiotic diet. I know I became aware of it as I was doing yoga, but I still have a lot to learn. So anything you could share about, how do people get started with a macrobiotic diet?
Yeah, it's really interesting because a lot of celebrities have sort of made it popular over throughout the years. I don't know, Gwyneth Paltrow especially, she's written even a few cookbooks based around macrobiotic principles, and a couple of other actors, even Madonna, and they've popularized it in some way, and it can still be considered a bit fringe, and it can be considered extreme. The macrobiotics back in the 70s and 80s was very much brown rice, miso soup, and very narrow, but people took it out of context because in macrobiotics, there's actually there's these 7 levels of of philosophy behind macrobiotics, and also related to the ways of eating. And ultimately, on a macrobiotic diet, you can eat whatever you like. It's just a matter of understanding the effects that certain foods have on your body and how to balance out those effects. But when you're starting out, it's good to understand the principles of yin and yang, and how different foods are either more yin or more yang, but also understanding that it's all relative as well. So, a carrot, for instance, is more yang because it grows downwards and it's quite solid, whereas compared to broccoli, which is, green and upward growing, so that would be more yin. But then, you could compare something else, and the carrot then eventually might become more yin, because, like, if you say, for instance, compare carrot to burdock root is even more yang than a carrot. So it's like I said, it's all relative. But for someone starting out, I just would recommend, getting a few books. There's lots of actually really good books out there that explain what a balanced macrobiotic diet is. It's mainly plant-based, it's seasonal. That's a really important aspect of it, is eating within your climactic zone. So if you're living in, for instance, in South Australia, it's a very temperate sort of Mediterranean climate. Eating things like bananas and mangoes and pineapples every day is not ideal, because they grow in more, tropical climates. So it's not attuned to where you're living, and your body needs to adapt to your own climactic region. So that's another really key element. So looking where your food comes from, trying to narrow the food miles that it travels to get to you, even growing it your own, growing it in your garden, or knowing someone who has a garden and sharing in the bounty of their produce as well. So local, seasonal, understanding the extremes. So avoiding things like sugar and alcohol, and too much meat as well, because meat is very yang. But if you live in a really cold climate, then meat is good, because you need that yang to balance out the really cold yin of, the freezing temperatures, So, and there was something else I was going to say. But yeah, so in macrobiotics, there's also the healing macrobiotic diet, and then, the standard macrobiotic diet. And the healing diet, if you have a certain condition, a good macrobiotic counselor would look at what you're eating, look at your condition, and work out if there's an excess of yin in your diet, and in your, is your illness caused by too much yin, or is it caused by too much yang? And then looking at foods that would then help bring balance. So if you have a yang condition, you might have to eat more yin food. If you have a yin condition, you need to eat more yang food. And then only doing that for a certain period of time until you start to feel better, and then starting to maybe get a bit more broader, so becoming more balanced between yin and yang as well. So there is a process, and there's a lot of, philosophy behind it. It's not just about food, it's a whole philosophy of how the universe was created, how humans have evolved over time, and just how humans fit into the bigger scheme of the universal evolutionary process. So yeah, it's quite fascinating.
Really? I didn't know that at all, that it had that broad of a philosophy about human nature. But that makes sense, because a lot of these philosophies that are more tied to Eastern philosophy, do tend to focus on balance, and that balance is an observation of nature, from what I'm understanding, that, drawing from the yin and yang that we experience in nature, and why wouldn't our bodies respond to that as well? Like the actual food we absorb is going to create some kind of balance in our body. That's as much as I know on a very minimal level, but I really learned a lot from you just now. And I would love to learn more, maybe on a YouTube video, maybe, philosophy of macrobiotic diet, if that interests you.
Absolutely.
But I've heard of the macrobiotic so many times. So now I'm just really fascinated. I'm like, I know we don't have a ton of time to go into it all now. But instead of buying a book, I would be interested, and I would tell my viewers, like, see what Leah has on her channel. And
cool. Okay. Yeah.
to kind of even just like a basic overview of what you just shared, the macrobiotic philosophy. I think that's really cool.
Absolutely. Cool. Thanks, Sarah. I'll work on that next. Put that on the list.
If you're interested.
Oh no, I am. I do have 1 or 2 shorter macrobiotic videos on my channel, but that's something I haven't explored in much depth, but it's been in the back of my mind for a while. Absolutely.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So just as a last kind of closing question before we go into the YouTube coaching, just curious, how do you work in your daily life with, you shared a little bit at the beginning about, just keeping this commitment to your yoga practice. But I know a lot of people do struggle with diet, and it seems like the yoga practice, it does help with maintaining a diet. Has that been your experience? The commitment to yoga kind of helps you keep your commitment to your diet, or how would you describe the kind of interplay between diet and yoga?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it helps that I like cooking. A lot of people don't like cooking, and I find that it's terribly sad. I'd really love to instill a joy of cooking in everyone. But I think as far as, it does go hand in hand. It's kind of chicken or egg kind of thing. The yoga over time has helped me not need or not desire certain foods. And I don't know whether that's because I just haven't eaten them for such a long time. I don't crave them anymore, or they don't appeal to me, or it's just a matter of the yoga and my mind connection. Is just me telling myself, I don't actually need that anymore. Like, I can see a piece of cake and go, oh, that looks nice. It probably tastes really nice, but I don't need to eat it. And that doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes I just buy the cake, but knowing that, that's a treat and it's special. And and I think there is a philosophy behind it. I think the more you practice on your self-awareness and your self-growth, you want to treat your body with a certain level of respect as well. You don't want to be putting bad food or alcohol necessarily, or other things into your body because you know the effect it's going to have on you. Maybe not straight away, but maybe the next day or even 3 days later. Sometimes you don't notice the effects until so. And just over time, just enjoying feeling healthy and strong means that sorry, excuse my dog, he wants to play.
Yes, he does.
He does, yeah. So over time, you just sort of adapt, I think, and it is okay to have a little treat here and there. And I went through a stage where I would just beat myself up for eating something that wasn't healthy. But again, just letting that go, having some self-compassion. Please stop. And having some self-compassion about your approach to your food. I think a lot of people do get caught up in counting calories or having a treat day or but again it's that macrobiotic approach of just finding balance and finding what works for you. And if you do eat in line with the seasons, and if you do eat not in the extremes, then you're more likely to find that balance as well. So it just comes down to simple bodily observations, mental observations, and checking in with yourself and seeing what it is that you really need. Like, a lot of people use food as a self-medicating thing. They want sugar, so they they decide they want to eat a block of chocolate, or maybe just having one piece and really savoring it is a better option. So being mindful about what you're putting in your mouth. I know there's days where I still shove corn chips in my mouth without really thinking about it, and I just want this salt hit.
I did that yesterday.
But I'm aware of it. There's an awareness that I'm doing it. So what's missing in my life and why am I doing that? But we don't always have to think so deeply about it, but it does help to have that awareness.
Yes, and that is really what I'm hearing as the overall theme is the yoga and the macrobiotic diet are helping bring more awareness to how you can stay more centered, how we all can stay more centered. And like you said, I
Mm,
think a lot of people just don't have these tools. They don't have,
mm.
the tools they need, because healthy eating isn't really promoted very much, at least in the
Or it's
country
promoted in
I
an
live in.
extreme way sometimes as well, like it's these crazy diets like paleo and whatever, and they are extreme, and
Uh-huh.
I personally don't think they're sustainable in a long term period. Like, I think any dietary change will bring about change in your body, and potentially a positive change. Like, if you've been eating crap food for a long time and then you change to a different way of eating, whatever that is, if it's juicing or raw food or I don't know what else, your body will change. You're going to lose weight, assuming that you're leaving something out that you used to be eating a lot of, and things
Mm.
will change. But maintaining that for a long term is going to create stress as well. That's why I love the macrobiotic diet, is because there's the healing diet where you actually focus on healing yourself first from whatever it is. And, it
Mm-hmm.
maybe you need to eat more yang food. Maybe you do need to eat meat for 3 weeks or a month or whatever to
Yeah.
bring that balance. But then after you've brought that balance, the extreme yin and the extreme yang back together, and you're finding this more centered, then you can start expanding out into a more healthy way of eating. And the standard of just whole foods, whole grains, fruit and vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, it's really what we were evolved to eat,
Mm-hmm.
following the structure of our teeth and our digestive system. So it just seems logical to me, but yeah, maybe not to everyone else.
Yeah, beautiful. I completely believe it's in all areas of my life with not going to extremes.
Mm,
Just and everybody has a different body, everybody has a different way of
mm,
responding to food. So the
yeah.
macrobiotic diet seems to really get in tune with that and help
Mm,
people kind of figure out their own system for
mm,
eating, but
yeah.
a system that is aligned with the nature of the body, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
exactly. Yeah, that's beautiful. Beautiful summary.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then the last part, that I didn't hear you say explicitly, but I'm really gathering from this information about the macrobiotic diet and being aware of our body, is the piece about self-love, which I know
Mm,
is definitely a part of what you do in your business, helping people get
yeah.
more attuned to bringing that love to themselves. So
Mm,
would you like to say anything about that piece? Either,
yeah.
a personal
Yeah. And
story
again,
in your own life, or,
mm,
what, how other
mm,
people can get more in tune with their self.
yeah, that's a really good question for a couple of minutes. Yeah, it's I guess, it is a journey. It's a lifelong process. Again, an evolution of, coming in tune with yourself. And again, it's only really been over the last, maybe 4 years or so where I've really dialed into that self-love concept more obviously in my life. Before it just, like I said, when I got sick, it was because I wasn't really, giving myself the love that I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And finding that again, or actually, just even finding it to start with. But over the last few years, just doing more, I guess, following other people on YouTube and like that speak about personal development,
Mm-hmm.
and self love as well. And I've just been able to um, have more of that in my life, like more teachers who teach explicitly about that, but also learning the tools and the techniques that come with that practice. But it is so much aligned to the yoga and to the diet as well, because those two things are acts of self-love to ourselves as well. Like, a yoga practice is a way of
Mm-hmm.
loving yourself. Eating well is a way of loving yourself. But we can amplify that by doing specific exercises like journaling, for instance, or even I find, self-talk is a really good way of practicing self-love. Writing affirmations, having them pinned up. I have a pin board next to my bed with, I've written out affirmations, and it's, you know, the last thing I can look at in the nighttime and the first thing I can look at in the morning, you know, and just having those positive words beside me that are empowering is really beneficial as well. So there's, you know, quite a few different tools. I have a few actual videos on my YouTube channel and also my Facebook page where I share some of them. So that would maybe be a good place if people are interested to have a look.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're going to put that in the description for this video so people can check out your website and your YouTube channel. So before we actually go into the live YouTube coaching, I'd love to give you an opportunity if you have any offers coming up, anything. I know, you know, you're in Australia, but we have an international audience. So anything that you have coming up that might be online that people could plug into, if you would love to share that, we welcome
Yeah, I
it.
don't really have any online offers at the moment. It's something I'm working on. My goal is to put together a subscription site for people to access yoga videos, cooking videos, and also I'm wanting to combine a few other practitioners who I really love and get their content on this subscription site as well. So that's kind of a long-term goal, but yeah, watch this space. There'll be some more information coming out about that when it happens.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this video will be up on YouTube for a while, so it might come right at the right time. So yeah, keep an eye on Leah's YouTube channel and her website, and you know, definitely follow her on Instagram as well, and then see what she has coming up. So let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see here. Share screen. All right. So the screen is going to be over here. And then I'm just going to walk through your YouTube channel, Leah, and we can just see what improvements you might be able to make. But first of all, I'd actually like to know, because I'm familiar with your channel, but I'd love to know what you need help with. You know, what are you specifically looking to do with your YouTube channel, you know, in the next few months or by the end of the year?
Yeah, I guess, you know, the one thing that everyone really wants is to build their audience, you know, increase subscribers. And, you know, whilst that's something that's out of our control, I'd like to, I guess, better understand how I can at least encourage people more to subscribe. I actually very rarely in my videos will ask people to subscribe to my channel. I feel like if people like my content, then they will subscribe. But yeah, so I mean, that's one of you know, our business coach, George, he's like, you know, you don't have to tell people what to do. If they really like you, then they'll follow you. So I don't want to just people to follow me because I'm asking them to. I want them to do that from a place where they feel they want to. But also, I guess a bit more SEO kind of stuff. I was actually looking at a couple of my videos, my top ranking videos recently, and they actually do rank quite highly when you do like a YouTube search for that particular topic. So I was pretty happy with that. Like my top 2 videos there on the screen. So those 2 actually rank really highly in SEO. I haven't actually looked at the other ones. And it's really great because they're consistently getting views all the time. Like, you know, might be 3 one day, 4 another day, you know, 10 another day. So it's quite interesting to see that people are actually searching for those things. Yeah, and I guess eventually working out on, you know, what's going to draw more people to my channel. But I just feel it as an experiment, really. I don't want to spend a lot of time digging into things to find out what are people going to watch versus what they're not going to watch. Yes, that's important, but also it's just a matter of me practicing being there. So it is what it is in a way. I don't know if that's helpful or not.
Yeah, no, I love your approach of keeping an open mind, you know, keeping it as an experiment, because, you know, it takes a lot of effort to make a video and, you know, at least to a lot of people getting started. I know you now have a lot of experience. You've made so many different videos. So yeah, I would love to offer some tips just based on what you said, you know, on getting the reach, like expanding the reach to more people. Because like you said, you have some videos that have done really well. You know, this how to make tamari roasted almonds, how to use mouth tape. And it looks like, you know, some of the videos have grown over time, you know, as is very common with, you know, any channel starting out. You know, the views aren't going to come in right away. It's like it's often a slow trickle, and you might not see anything for like a couple months after you release a video. And then suddenly the search starts to pick it up. And so first I just want to, you know, definitely give you a lot of encouragement and, you know, say that you're doing a great job with all your consistency and, you know, putting out videos on a regular basis. That can be hard for people to get into that rhythm. And so that's really great. So for the first tip I would give you, this, I don't know if you've gone on to customize your channel where you, it looks like you have, because you've got this video here. So you can change the video. So there's a video you can show to people who are just coming to your page for the first time. And then there's for returning visitors. And so a good thing to do for the people first coming to your page is just do a little intro video. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but, you know, just introducing yourself and telling your story of coming to yoga and learning about macrobiotic cooking, and make it be like 90 seconds or 2 minutes, not much longer than that, because most new viewers are probably not going to watch past 2 minutes. So just kind of keep it short, introducing yourself, and you can ask people to subscribe. I think that's a totally appropriate thing to do, you know, for new people, at least in that channel trailer. It's definitely a personal preference if you want to do it in every video. But just by doing it in that channel trailer, it's like, you know, introducing yourself and, hey, I'd like you to stick around so you can get some more great content. And this is the type of content I release every week, you know. And then maybe if you had a certain playlist, you could say, oh, you know, a good place to start out on my channel is to go to this playlist, and I'll link it in the description below or something like that. So getting people to, you know, not just watch the intro video, but getting to watch more videos. And then if you do want to expand the reach, which for everyone watching, you know, expanding the reach is just generating more traffic. Like first of all, getting more impressions, and then getting people to click on the videos so that, you know, you're getting more views on your videos eventually. And one of the best ways to do that is just looking into YouTube SEO. And so, like, for example, these videos just kind of got picked up in the search engine, and it was kind of hit or miss, it seems like. You know, there was no real understanding in advance, you know, is this going to be a more popular video on my channel? But with YouTube SEO, you're actually using the information that YouTube already has about your channel, and it's giving you a good chance, you know, just based on the information YouTube has combined with the information that the specific keywords and topics that you want to share on your channel. Okay, so what you can do, so I have the TubeBuddy plugin here, and TubeBuddy is what I use. There's many other SEO services like vidIQ, like Morning Fame. I love TubeBuddy because they have this plugin It's also only like $5 a month, so it's totally worth it to me.
Yeah.
And so like I'll get an idea and I go into the tool that I use most often is the keyword explorer. And so this is not actually going to work right now for your specific channel because it's tied to my channel. So it's not going to show us like the specific results for your channel. I just want to kind of give that disclaimer. But just as an example, like if we wanted to do a video, if you wanted to do an additional video on tamari almonds, it's going to give you some suggestions right here. These are possible keywords you might want to look into. So we could start with this, tamari versus regular almonds. And then again, the score that it's giving is for my channel. Okay, so for some reason it's saying for my channel, that's a good video, which is kind of interesting. But what you would look at is the weighted score. The weighted is tied to your specific channel. And then if it goes into like a poor or a fair rating, it's going to give you a lot more related searches right over there. So it gives you a lot of ideas. So you keep kind of digging and going through the different ideas. And what this does is it just highly increases the chance. So you're not shooting in the dark. You're not just like, oh, is this going to work for people to find my video on YouTube? It highly increases the chance that because TubeBuddy is analyzing the data on literally every YouTube channel out there and giving you this score. So what you would want to look for is like an excellent, a very good or excellent is what I always look for. And then it starts to show up in YouTube search. So for example, let's see here. I want to look at like some of the videos you had in the last couple weeks. So like hip yoga therapy. If we went into YouTube search, and you are coming up. So that is a good one to continue, just like the tamari almonds, to continue looking into the keywords on TubeBuddy and kind of seeing, what are some other topics? What are some other keywords that people might be interested in? Because YouTube likes seeing you, do this video. And does that all make sense? Is that
yeah, absolutely.
Does it seem like that would be helpful for your channel or something that you would be interested in?
Yeah, I think so. I think getting a bit more insights using that sort of data would be really helpful. But in conjunction with also speaking to my clients, my regular yoga students who do my YouTube videos as well, and knowing what they're interested in. So combining that data with my clients, own feedback,
absolutely.
I think would be really beneficial.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that about your regular clients, because most likely, when we put out YouTube videos, we want to be serving our YouTube videos to people that are similar, almost like a lookalike audience to the people we're already serving. And so that is important, gathering that information from people you're already working with and then seeing how it kind of plays out in YouTube. And so I think it's important to, have a combination of the discussion with people you're working with the YouTube SEO, because YouTube is so big, and unless your audience, like, you have thousands of people listening to a podcast or just an audience somewhere off of YouTube, it's going to be very challenging, to start to reach a lot more people on YouTube without doing the SEO, So couple other suggestions I have, Leah. I love that you did the interview with George, and I'm going to be listening to that soon. I saw that came out yesterday. And I was curious, are you interested in doing more interviews on, because I know you have this podcast, the Wellbeing Room. Would you be interested in recording more of them and putting them on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, I mean, I do record them all in Zoom, but in the first instance, I usually just upload the audio because I know George has a big YouTube audience. I put his video up straight away as well. And plus, you know, it was a very free-flowing conversation, so there weren't any, I didn't need to edit it. There was like one bit I had to cut out because of the sun angle. So, and I've now worked out how to actually use Zoom properly so I can switch between the speakers and highlight people when they're talking. So, and that I kind of just had that epiphany when I did the interview with George the other week. So,
cool.
So moving forward, I'd definitely be keen to have my podcast interviews as YouTube videos as well. I mean, the only thing with that though also is that they're a lot longer. You know, people don't generally stick around watching a longer video unless, I mean, they can just listen to it as they're playing it, like I do as well. But I don't know. I heard something about YouTube that there's like this optimum video length where you want people to watch for a certain amount of time before they kind of switch off. That will help increase the reach of your channel. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's just something I heard.
Yeah, that's a big factor.
Yeah, so the longer your video is, the less likely people are going to stick around and watch it. And then, I mean, that's just another thing, you know, whether I could break up those interviews into smaller segments as well, but that's just more editing, you know, and then put them up as maybe instead of one long 30, 40 or 50-minute video, having, you know, 3 to 5 shorter segments of those interviews. But yeah, that's just more work. When I do it myself, I have to pay someone else to do it as well. So, yeah.
I hear you. Yeah. And I would definitely not recommend putting more work on your plate, because I did a podcast in the past, and that was actually before I really concentrated on growing my YouTube channel. And I was just putting the videos up there. You know, it was just a place, you know, to store the videos. And they do start generating, what I discovered is they do start generating views over a long period of time because it's tied to the person's name. If someone goes and types, of course, George Cow, there's a chance your video will show up, and then people will start watching more videos on your channel. The only caveat with, so I want to speak to a point you made about, you know, the retention time of the video, and that is really important. But I think that's misinformation or just a misunderstanding about longer videos hurting your channel. It's not necessarily going to hurt it. It's just the shorter videos are going to grow your channel more quickly. Yeah. But my philosophy and what I've seen with longer videos is you don't want to, you know, just put your Zoom videos up there and forget about your short videos, because you do want to retain people into the video. But the people that are watching these interviews, like people who might watch my live stream, like whoever you are right now, thank you for joining us live and for watching the replay all the way into the end of this interview, because these people are like super fans. You know, these are the people that are probably more likely to subscribe to your channel. And we've got to remember that really the people that want to subscribe, those are the people we've built trust with. Those are the people who really like our content and who are most aligned with what we're doing. I would say, you know, they're not just watching it because of George Cow. Like, they like your interview style. They like the questions you ask, etc. So I wouldn't go nuts on, like, you know, editing the videos, but just starting to put out like a playlist, you know, with some people from the Wellbeing Room, I think could be beneficial. And then as the podcast grows, you could create a whole other YouTube channel for the Wellbeing Room.
Yeah. That's a good point. Thanks.
So, well, I know we're getting to the end of the time, and I want to, let you get on with your day here. It's the end of the day for me, but are there any other questions you have about growing your YouTube channel or improving upon what you have?
Yeah, I guess I'm always curious about, I hear different people talk about their channel. They started it and they've already got 1,000 subscribers, or and then they've already hit 5,000 subscribers. And I've been on here since 2019 and I've got 215 subscribers. And I mean, I know, you just sort of think, how do people? I mean, a lot of people know more people, or just have, I guess, more mainstream content that more people are going to want to see. But I guess what I've learned is it's just a long process for some of us. You got to be in for the long game. And I guess I'm curious on your thoughts about that. How people can get so many subscribers so quickly, whereas someone like me who's been consistently putting content out almost every week for the last 3 years or something is still only on 200 subscribers. So I'm just curious if you have any thoughts about that.
Yeah, it's really common. And I think if you interviewed or talked to any of the people that you've seen grow pretty quickly, I would place a bet that all of them are using YouTube SEO, because it's really the only way that YouTube is going to pick up and start suggesting your videos. And there's so many ways that people can find your videos. So it's really, I'm trying to think of the right analogy, but yeah, it's almost like swimming upstream, not using YouTube SEO. And I know personally, I was kind of like, oh, does this mean I have to make videos I don't want to make? And
that's the other thing.
that I think is a common sort of concern that people have, especially us like heart-centered business owners, but it definitely doesn't mean that. It means you just are I'm just taking time, I'm coming up with topic ideas, I'm talking to my audience, but then I'm making that decision, like, I'm not going to swim upstream, because it will take 5 to 10 years to continue to grow and for people to continue to find my channel. Because like you, I'm also in a really competitive niche, and that was one thing I know that held me back from starting my channel for a while. I mean, I was like, oh, there's so many other people doing video production, so many people who have these big channels. But the reality that I discovered is, like, once I started using TubeBuddy and I started, really learning the SEO, it wasn't that hard to rank my videos. My videos started showing up on the first page of Google search with less than 1,000 subscribers, so it's just almost like a superpower, and it's like, it's unlike website SEO. You might need to hire somebody, or you might need to really spend a long time learning it. But the amazing thing with the YouTube SEO is, like, Google wants to give YouTube creators a chance for their stuff to be seen, because they know if it's tied to a search result, something that people are already searching for, that's value that this creator has given to Google and given to YouTube, so they want to give you a chance for it to be seen.
Thank you. That's it's very very appropriate and insightful. No, it's good. It's good to know that those tools are there, and it's just a matter of understanding and knowing how to use them. Because I don't want to be creating, sensationalist content,
Oh no,
crazy kind of content based around my topic area just to get people to find me. That's not who I am. So, or maybe it is.
People people's content style changes over time too.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, you don't have to compromise, your style or who you are. It's really just placing that importance on the keyword itself, making a decision. Oh, yeah, actually, I am passionate about this topic. And really, I think of it like getting aligned with what TubeBuddy is telling me, what the SEO information is giving me. And then I'm like, okay, I don't want to swim upstream. So yeah, I'm gonna make this video. So that's really, kind of how it is it's a subtle shift. And it's just really remembering, like, you're not compromising yourself. You're not compromising your content or your channel, but just kind of getting aligned with how YouTube works to serve your content to more people.
Yeah. And I think that's why those couple of videos that I have worked so well. I've put like a question as the video title, and I've put in all the tags as well, and I've put the title in the description, and tried to make it really specific to what someone might be searching for. So I think that's something that's helped those couple of videos do really well so far. But definitely worth considering for more future content that I create too.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing how it goes. Of course, I'm seeing your new videos when they come out. And yeah, everyone, please go check out Leah's channel and do some yoga. Can't get enough yoga for sure. I think I'm actually going to do some right after this, because sitting too long. Like, I love these interviews, but yeah. Are you standing, by the way?
I am standing, and my lower back is like, I don't know. My lower back's starting to from standing still, but it's okay. I'm going to walk around a bit after this.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And
thank you. Yeah.
I look forward to hearing how it goes, and just check in with me with any questions.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But yep. Boop. Okay. So she dropped off, but thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again on the next Wellness Wednesday interview. Thank you, Dee. She dropped out for a second. Here she is. No, we've been on a long time, so it totally makes sense.
I just pressed the wrong button and it closed the window. Like, no.
No worries. No worries.
No, thank you so much for having me, Sarah. It's been lovely chatting with you. And I'm looking forward to watching this back and seeing what I said. And maybe using some of that to create some more content for my channel as well.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm glad it's helpful, and have a beautiful day, Leah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sarah. See you around.
All right. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Bye.